So you want to own a car wash. It is the ultimate middle-class entrepreneurial fantasy, the holy grail of automated passive income. Picture the scene. It's a Tuesday afternoon. The sun is shining. You are standing on a pristine patch of asphalt, watching a 2-ton SUV get pulled into a 120-foot steel tunnel. High-pressure nozzles strip off road grime. Neoprene wraps slap rhythmically against the windshield. A cascade of hot ceramic wax coats the hood. 3 minutes later, a spotless vehicle rolls out onto the street. The driver just paid $20. Now, let's run the microeconomics of that single 3-minute cycle. The machine consumed 35 cents worth of concentrated sodium lauryl sulfate, 8 gallons of fresh water blended with recycled water, 3 kilowatt-hours of electricity. Total cost of goods sold? Roughly $1.50. No human employee ever touched the vehicle. No salesman pitched the upgrade. The entire transaction was processed by a touchscreen kiosk before the car's front tires even crossed the optical sensor at the entrance. Gross margin? 85%. To an outside investor, a modern express car wash doesn't look like a retail business. It looks like a high-yield liquidity pump bolted to a plot of commercial real estate. It feels like printing cash out of thin air, soap, and municipal water. So why is a business with an 85% gross margin currently bankrupting some of the smartest private equity operators in the world? To understand the trap, we have to strip this machine down to its raw mechanics. Entering the car wash industry requires navigating 3 fundamentally different levels of capital expenditure. Tier 1, the self-serve bay. This is the entry-level asset class. Building a 4 to 6 bay self-serve facility costs between $300,000 and $800,000. You buy a small plot of land, install high-pressure wands, coin-operated timers, and chemical proportioners. Each bay generates $30,000 to $70,000 in annual revenue. The margins are high and maintenance is minimal. But Tier 1 has a hard mathematical ceiling: human behavior. A customer washing their own car takes 10 to 15 minutes. You cannot speed them up. You cannot force them to buy an upgrade. Tier 1 provides a steady, modest paycheck for a hands-on owner, but it will never build institutional wealth. Tier 2, the in-bay automatic. This is the system you see attached to gas stations. Capital cost, $800,000 to $1.8 million. The car drives in, stops, and stays stationary while a robotic gantry moves around it. Throughput? Maximum 12 to 15 cars per hour. And that brings us to the fatal flaw of Tier 2, the queue. If a driver sees 3 cars waiting in line, they drive away. That lost revenue is gone forever. You cannot bank demand in retail services. Which brings us to Tier 3, the express conveyor tunnel, an industrial monster, 100 to 150 feet of continuous steel conveyor track. Throughput capacity? Up to 200 cars per hour. The cost of entry? $4 million to $8 million per location. $2 million goes to acquiring prime real estate on a high-density traffic corridor. Another $3 to $4 million goes into industrial equipment: blowers, water reclamation tanks, chemical injection manifolds, and high-voltage electrical infrastructure. At Tier 3, you are no longer running a local service shop. You are operating a heavy industrial processing plant disguised as a retail drive-through. Before 2015, the car wash industry suffered from one fatal vulnerability: weather dependency. A rainy weekend could erase 40% of a site's monthly revenue. Fixed costs, debt service, insurance, property taxes, remained constant, while top-line revenue fluctuated wildly based on local meteorology. Then, Wall Street discovered the car wash, and they brought software economics to physical infrastructure. They introduced the Unlimited Wash Club. Instead of selling a single wash for $15, you sell a monthly recurring subscription for $30. Unlimited washes. Drive through every single day if you want. To the consumer, it feels like an unbeatable deal. 2 washes a month and the subscription pays for itself. To the operator, it changes everything. It transforms a volatile, weather-dependent retail store into a predictable, subscription-based annuity fund. This relies on a principle known as breakage economics, the exact same model used by commercial gyms. Roughly 40% of unlimited wash subscribers visit the site less than once every 2 months. They pay $30 a month, every month, on auto-renew. The marginal cost to serve an inactive subscriber is $0. The gross margin on that breakage profit approaches 99%. On the first day of every month, before a single vehicle drives onto the property, the operator's bank account is credited with tens of thousands of dollars in automated credit card charges. Rain or shine. When private equity firms saw this recurring revenue model, a gold rush began. Between 2018 and 2024, institutional capital flooded the market. Private equity funds began buying up independent operators, rolling them into regional megachains and inflating valuation multiples. A single car wash site that historically sold for 5 to 6 times EBITDA suddenly commanded multiples of 12, 14, or even 16 times EBITDA. The game was no longer just about washing cars. It was about financial engineering. To fund this hyper-expansion, private equity firms turned to a powerful financial drug, the sale-leaseback agreement. Here is how the trap works. An operator buys a site for $6 million, $2 million for the land, $4 million for the building and equipment. To unlock their capital and build 5 more locations immediately, they sell the underlying land to a real estate investment trust, REIT. The REIT pays top dollar for the dirt, and the operator signs a long-term triple net NNN lease to rent the land back for 25 years. On paper, it looks brilliant. The operator gets their capital back instantly. They can expand at breakneck speed without waiting for organic cash flow. In reality, they just signed their own death warrant. Under a triple net lease, the operator doesn't just pay rent. They are legally obligated to pay all property taxes, all building insurance, and all structural maintenance costs. Worse, that rent isn't cheap. A typical NNN lease on a prime express tunnel demands $250,000 to $400,000 in annual rent, with automatic escalating rent hikes built in every single year. The operator no longer owns the core asset, the real estate. They hold no land equity. They are left holding depreciating steel, wearing mechanical belts, complex plumbing liabilities, and an immovable $30,000 monthly rent check that must be paid regardless of economic conditions. Now let's step away from financial spreadsheets and look at the physical reality of running a tunnel. An express car wash is an unforgiving operating environment. You are mixing high-voltage electricity, corrosive chemicals, high-pressure hydraulics, and untreated water, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Water is the first hidden tax. A standard tunnel uses 60 to 80 gallons of fresh water per vehicle. In high-density municipalities, local utility companies charge massive tap fees, sometimes exceeding $100,000 just for the right to connect to the municipal water main. To survive, operators must install complex underground reclamation systems, settling tanks, oil-water separators, and reverse osmosis filtration units. These reclamation systems process thousands of gallons of dirty runoff, filtering out sludge, heavy metals, and grit so the water can be reused in the pre-wash cycles. When these systems fail, and they do fail, suspended silica and fine sand get pumped right back through the high-pressure arches. Instead of washing the vehicle, the system effectively sandblasts the paint. A single incident involving scratched clear coat on a fleet of luxury vehicles can wipe out a week's worth of operating profit in legal claims and detailing costs. Then there is mechanical downtime. Conveyor chains snap, hydraulic pumps leak, optical sensors blind out in direct sunlight, chemical injection valves clog with calcified mineral deposits. If your tunnel breaks down on a clear, sunny Saturday morning following 5 days of rain, you aren't just losing repairs costs. You are losing $10,000 a day in unrecoverable cash flow while your fixed rent and debt payments keep ticking. Which brings us to the terminal phase of the car wash boom, hyper-saturation. Because private equity poured billions of dollars into the sector, site selection degraded. Traditionally, a high-performing express tunnel required a primary trade area with at least 30,000 vehicles per day in traffic count, strong household income, and a 3-mile radius clear of competitors. Today, in markets across Texas, Florida, and the Sun Belt, you can find 3 massive express tunnels sitting on the exact same 2-mile stretch of highway. They are competing for the exact same local drivers. To survive, operators launch predatory pricing wars. They drop subscription prices from $30 to $10. They offer free trial months. They burn cash to steal subscriber numbers from the tunnel across the street. The math breaks down rapidly. When a market becomes saturated, site capture rates collapse from 1% of daily drive-by traffic down to 0.3%. At 0.3% capture rate, a site cannot generate enough top-line revenue to cover its heavy NNN rent, its equipment debt, and its utility bills. We are already seeing the fallout. Mega operators who built over-leveraged networks through sale-leaseback models are filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy restructuring, burdened by hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. So, what is the final verdict on the car wash industry? An automated car wash is not a passive cash machine. It is a high-capital, debt-sensitive industrial facility operating in a hyper-competitive retail landscape. The people making real money in this industry are rarely the naive franchisees buying single sites on heavy leverage. The true winners are 1. Land developers who assemble prime commercial parcels and sell them to desperate operators at inflated prices. 2. Equipment manufacturers who sell multi-million-dollar machinery packages with guaranteed margins. 3. Unleveraged operators who own the land outright and run tight, disciplined regional operations without wallowing in REIT debt. If you want to own a car wash, remember the golden rule of physical asset economics. Own the dirt beneath your feet and keep your debt under control. Otherwise, the water and the interest payments will wash your business away.